Brazil's crypto community has been thriving beyond belief. I'm Jessica, and here at CoinMarketCap, guys, we love making videos about all things crypto, from crypto news to market moves and how to get started with new concepts. If you do want something more than just hype and to actually learn about crypto, make sure to turn on the bell notifications and subscribe to not miss any more content like this. Crypto is booming in Brazil. There has been a huge jump in the number of crypto owners in 2021. It's been reported that 10 million people, or 4.9% of the population in the country, own cryptocurrency. Of this, 40% are between 20 and 25 years old. Over 25% of the people between 26 and 40 own the crypto. Now, the British in me wants to remind you all of a scene in Skyfall where Q meets Bond. There is this iconic line where James Bond reminds Q, "Youth is no guarantee of innovation," and Q strikes back saying he actually has the capacity to make more of an impact by just sitting at home. Sounds familiar? It's almost similar to the young people who became crypto millionaires overnight. Now, that really isn't possible with a typical 9 to 5. But this isn't a us versus them kind of video. In fact, for Brazil, this is the complete opposite. The broader institutionalization of crypto has really fueled the growth of this asset class. So when Coinbase was listed publicly, several banks spoke positively about this emerging asset class. This further cemented people's faith in crypto. One of the largest crypto exchanges in the country, Mercado Bitcoin, has actually been breaking its own record for trading volumes for Bitcoin every quarter. An estimated $50 billion worth of crypto is owned by Brazilians according to their central bank. And this raging fire for crypto investments is largely driven by day traders and is the backdrop for several institutional players jumping into the action too. Now, more people are opening up crypto accounts than for traditional financial securities, which is crazy when you think about it. Hashdex, a popular asset management firm in the country, was actually the first to launch a world-first ETF in crypto in February of 2021. It tracks the Nasdaq Crypto Index, and it lets curious investors gain exposure to the emerging asset class through a varied portfolio in a single transaction. The ETF was available for trading in Brazil's stock exchange, B3, in April, and even international players have actually moved into the country. Bitso, which is a Mexican crypto exchange, recently raised $62 million in an attempt to drive its expansion into Brazil. This exchange was one of the first crypto unicorns in the Latin America region. The next question is, what has driven this insane growth in Brazil? Well, there are several factors, so we're going to run through them. The first one is a rising inflation within the country. So the year 2020 has been a testament to the fact that whenever inflation spikes, investors do look for an alternative. And what could have been a better investment asset class than something that gives you a 1,800% return in a single year? The second one is the largely younger population of Brazil, who are much more likely to invest in riskier but also more rewarding assets. The third one is around regulation. There's not yet an established regulatory framework for cryptocurrency. Now, I'm going to explore the first two here. So the 2020 bull run was a prime driver of growth, coupled with rising concerns around inflation. In 2020 alone, the inflation rate rose over 5%. For the first time in 4 years. But what's more exciting for Brazil is its young population. The average age of the country is 32. This means many people are accustomed to mobile phones, social media usage, and online payments. So given the extensive marketing campaigns that some crypto companies have actually launched, several people in the country are learning about this new asset class. And crypto's appeal has only been enticing more users. The country also leads in terms of wider digital adoption, and it also has 25% of its population that's largely unbanked. Now, this is kind of the sweet spot that is the crypto industry when it comes to adoption landscapes, and it needs to find its space within the country. Bitcoin has already surpassed gold in terms of trading volume within the country, and this is sending a really strong message about the prevailing crypto industry. Widespread adoption has also contributed significantly to overall growth. Several crypto companies have now become giants because of the huge traded volumes. Mercado Bitcoin is one of the largest crypto exchanges in Brazil, and this saw $5 billion in trading volumes in crypto in the first quarter of 2021 alone. Now, the number of users at the time were almost 2.7 million. The exchange has reported that this year's volume has surpassed the volumes across the 7 years. The first quarter saw earth-shattering volumes. And I can tell you that Mercado's investors must have been extremely pleased with this. In fact, the exchange has actually been raising funds throughout the year. In a round led by GP Investments and Parallax, the exchange secured $50 million. This money was to be used to expand into additional Latin American markets. The exchange has also bought Blockchain Academy, which is the biggest crypto school in the country. So before all of this, the exchange had already raised $200 million in an investment round led by SoftBank Latin America Fund. And this deal was closed in July and valued the exchange at $2.1 billion. It quickly shot to fame by becoming the second crypto unicorn across Latin America. The exchange's parent company 2TM has already hired hundreds of new employees, taking the number to 700 from a measly 200 employees, and it created a novel investment vehicle around soccer teams. This is done through Footcoin, so investors who want to buy the coin can actually take profit when two Brazilian teams actually send their players to a new team. The exchange isn't the only one that's making all the head turns. You've probably already heard now about coins being backed by cash reserves, but have you ever heard of a coin being backed by coffee reserves? So a coffee company in the country, Mercado, is also working on plans to create a new digital coin that's backed by coffee supplies. The coffee is known as Coffee Coin, and it helps farmers buy all the equipment they need. So one of the best things about this country is the fact that regulators have not said anything negative about the emerging asset class. So while a clear regulatory framework doesn't really exist yet, several experts have already begun working on it. So let's touch on legal a little bit more. Regulators have always been a hurdle in the crypto space. Some countries have imposed complete blanket bans on holding cryptocurrency. An example of this is Turkey. Brazil has been much more welcoming towards cryptocurrencies. However, the current regulatory guidelines are as old as 2014, and quite a lot has changed since then. The government highlighted that crypto gains would be considered a capital gain. The only condition to this was the total amount needed to be at least $6,670. This was further changed in 2019, and the number increased to $7,600, and users needed to report their gains to the National Treasury. Now, the government is working on new proposals that will introduce a fresh regulatory framework. The bill seeks to remove tax on the importing of crypto mining rigs, and also states that mining rigs actually will have to utilize renewable energy sources, but they will not be taxed. Now, this in itself is a really good news for all crypto miners and users. Critics of crypto mining consider it to be extremely harmful for the environment. Naturally, many miners are switching to more environmentally friendly resources. But if the government does pass the bill, then this would be a great news for miners all around the world. So more people would likely to be shifting their mining business to the country. Now, just to think about the sheer amount of size that could take, the massive job market will create as well is very optimistic. The current proposed regulations will actually shine a light on the future direction of crypto. If all the cards are placed right, then the country could become one of the biggest hubs in the region. Brazilians could potentially be able to take loans from crypto exchanges, and that itself would provide an incredible step forward for the entire economy. So while the existing crypto community in the country is really backing the bill, we're yet to see if we're finding backers from within government as well. Based on the Chainalysis 2021 Global Crypto Adoption Index, Brazil's actually ranked number 14 as one of the top adopters in cryptocurrency. If the bill does pass, then added legal clarity would entice much more people to use the digital asset. If you think about the impact this would have on the number of unbanked people in the country, it's a really remarkable statistic. On the other side, regulatory framework is still considered to be quite inconsistent and slow in Brazil, mainly just due to lack of understanding of the crypto industry. But one thing that does really stand out for us here is that crypto firms are very proactive and cooperating with authorities to really regulate the space, but local banks are really not the same. They're reluctant to work with crypto firms. In fact, in 2018, major local banks actually suddenly halted accounts of platforms in the country, leading to an investigation by Brazil's antitrust authority. So are you excited about the prospects of crypto in Brazil? Well, you should be. Brazil is one of the few countries where crypto has been given considerate importance. This is going to be incredibly promising for the country. A Brazilian MP has actually proposed a Bitcoin bill. While it doesn't make Bitcoin legal tender just like we saw in El Salvador, it could allow workers to be paid in Bitcoin, and the bill is said to still be in process. The Central Bank of Brazil is also focused on their own central bank digital currency, the digital real, which is started to launch in 2024. So as the crypto industry grows, more jobs are created. Mercado has hired 500 more people. As more people get hired, the prospect for the entire economy improves. More people earn money, then buy goods for themselves. This prompts the producers to make more items. This creates an incredible loop of supply and demand. So just to put into context and just to think about the number of families that can benefit from this and to seek the magic that is crypto. It seeks to empower an entire nation and its economy, and as more and more people become educated on this innovation, they gain awareness to its huge possibilities. It does spark a really crucial intellectual conversation and growth in a lot of people. And on top of that, as more people get access to banking services, they can easily send money to their families. Global integration becomes seamless. Crypto has really started a revolution. It helps people make strides in their own personal life. This is the next frontier of really a social economic growth. So if you are in Brazil, comment below if you've got into crypto yet, and also how long you've been in this space. And if you haven't got into crypto, because you still have a few more questions about the industry, well, you can always head over to our educational arm, Ask Alex, in the description box below. See you all again very soon.